The galaxy believed it was safe. It believed war was finished. For thousands of cycles, the Galactic Council ruled the stars. They were ancient species with long memories and cold logic. They mapped conflict like weather. They predicted fear, hunger, and revolt before it could grow. To them, war was no longer chaos. It was math. Every species had a role. Every world had limits. Those who obeyed were protected. Those who did not were corrected. Velsorin trusted this order. He was a scholar from the world of Thalos. His kind were thinkers, not fighters. They built cities of glass and light. They believed knowledge was stronger than weapons. They believed the Council would never allow another great war. Then the sky broke. It started with a false signal, a routine Council alert, a warning about a nearby system collapse. Nothing dangerous, nothing urgent. VAE. Velsorin watched from the upper towers as ships arrived. They flew in perfect lines. Their hulls carried Council marks. That brought calm, not fear. Then the strikes began. Energy lances fell from orbit. They cut through shields like paper. Power grids failed in seconds. Defense systems stayed silent, locked by Council codes. The first city vanished in light. The second drowned in fire. The third cracked open as the ground turned liquid. VAE. Velsorin felt the heat through reinforced walls. He smelled burning air. He heard the deep sound of a world dying. No warning followed. No message, no demand. The Council later called it containment. They said Thalos had become unstable. They said the risk to the galaxy was too high in that moment. None of that mattered. Velsorin ran with the others. Scholars, children, builders. They crowded into old transport. Ships never meant for escape. From space, Thalos looked calm. Blue oceans, white clouds. Then the planet split. A shockwave tore through orbit. Half the escape ships vanished. Velsorin's vessel spun into darkness. He survived. Many did not, drifting between stars. The survivors learned the truth. This had happened before. Whole worlds erased. Quietly, cleanly. The Council did not end war. They chose where it was allowed. Fear spread faster than light. Refugee fleets were turned away. Borders closed. Records vanished. VAE. Velsorin clung to data cores rescued from Thalos. He studied them in the dark. Patterns appeared. The Council feared chaos. They feared pain. They feared species that did not break as expected. In restricted archives he found a small file, barely noted, marked as irrelevant. A species from a distant spiral arm, divided, violent, short-lived. Their technology was crude by Council standards. Their worlds unstable. Their politics broken. The report called them weak, too emotional, too disordered, unfit for galactic influence. Their name was listed once. Humans. The file showed endless wars, civil wars, world wars, wars they barely survived. The Council dismissed them. They believed such a species would burn out on its own. Velsorin felt something cold settle inside him. A question the Council never asked. What if pain did not destroy a species? What if it shaped it? As his ship drifted, unknown vessels appeared on long-range scans. Not Council design, not listed anywhere. Their drives glowed with unfamiliar light. Their weapons charged. Velsorin realized the galaxy had made a fatal assumption. It believed control was strength. It believed suffering ended civilizations. Somewhere in the dark, something else was learning. Human trait reveal pain is not a weakness. Velsorin's ship fled into the outer dark. No star lanes, no Council beacons, only cold space and damaged systems. The survivors lived in silence. Food was counted by hand. Water was recycled again and again. Every day felt like borrowed time. Fear stayed with them. Fear of the Council. Fear of the unknown ships. Fear that no place was safe. Velsorin studied the data he had saved. Fragments from broken archives. Records the Council wanted erased. Worlds worlds that vanished without warning. A pattern formed. The Council did not destroy strong species. They destroyed unstable ones. Species that felt too much. Species that reacted instead of obeyed. Emotion was the enemy. That was why Thalos died. As the ship drifted, new signals appeared. Council drones searched nearby systems. Control protocols activated across the region. Borders tightened like a fist. VAE. Velsorin realized the truth. The Council feared survivors more than rebels. Memory was dangerous. Pain was dangerous. To the Council, suffering led to chaos. Chaos led to war. War threatened their control. They believed pain must be removed. In another restricted file, Veilsorin saw more details about the distant species, humans. The Council had watched them for centuries. They saw endless conflict. They saw cities destroyed by their own kind. They saw famine, plague, and collapse. To the Council, humans were broken, too stubborn, too angry, too emotional. The reports said humans should have gone extinct many times. They did not. Each disaster made them scarred. Each war left marks on their bodies and minds. Still, they rebuilt. The Council marked this as failure. They believed survival through pain was inefficient. Veilsorin felt something shift inside him. His own world had known peace for ages. When destruction came, Thalos shattered. Humans lived inside destruction. They were born into it. The Council believed suffering weakened the mind, but the human records showed something else. Pain taught them. Loss hardened them. Fear did not end them. The Council laughed at this data. They labeled it primitive endurance. Nothing more. VAE. Veilsorin no longer agreed. As the ship moved deeper into unclaimed space, alarms sounded. The unknown vessels were closer now. Their formation was tight, their movements sharp. These ships did not broadcast threats. They did not demand surrender. They simply advanced. The survivors panicked. Some prayed. Some froze. Veilsorin felt the old fear return. The fear of being erased, quietly, cleanly. But beneath the fear, another thought rose. A dangerous one. If the Council feared pain, and humans were shaped by pain, then humans were something the Council could not control. The scans updated. The ships were not Council forces. Their design was unfamiliar, rough, functional. Built for survival, not beauty. Veilsorin realized these ships were not here to contain, they were here to test. And somewhere far away, on a small blue world the Council ignored, a species was learning the same lesson again and again. Pain did not end them. It made them stronger. The unknown fleet locked onto Veilsorin's ship, weapons charged. The galaxy believed it understood weakness. It was about to learn how wrong it was. The unknown ships did not fire at once. They circled the refugee vessel in silence. Their hulls were scarred. Their engines burned unevenly. Veilsorin watched from the control bay. Every system showed danger. No escape path remained. Then the first strike came. It was not aimed to destroy. It tore through engines. Power failed across the ship. Gravity flickered. Several survivors were thrown into the air and never stood again. The attackers boarded. They were not soldiers of the Council. Their armor was heavy and worn. Their movements slow but steady. They searched without rage, without mercy. They took data cores. They took survivors. They took Veilsorin. That the refugee ship was left drifting, broken and silent. Veilsorin awoke inside a containment cell. Cold metal, dim light, no sound. He learned quickly that these beings served the Council, even if they did not wear its symbols. They were enforcers, used when quiet erasure was required. They did not torture him. They questioned him through machines. They pulled memories from his mind. Thalos burning, Council ships, hidden archives. Each memory caused pain. Each pain response was recorded. To them, pain was a tool, a weakness to be measured. Outside his cell, Veilsorin saw others, refugees from many worlds, broken species, survivors of containment, all of them afraid, all of them alone. The enforcers believed fear would end resistance. They believed suffering led to obedience. They were wrong. Some captives screamed, some went silent, some died, others endured. Veilsorin watched a being from a shattered moon world survive days of extraction without breaking. He watched a smaller species refuse to give access codes, even as its body failed. Pain did not erase them. It revealed them. The enforcers did not understand this. They recorded strength as malfunction, defiance as error. The station moved toward Council space. Veilsorin felt the pull of control closing again. In stolen moments, he accessed partial feeds. He saw Council fleets mobilizing. Human space appeared on the edge of their maps, not as a target, as a variable. Council analysts debated containment. Human systems showed unrest, expansion beyond assigned borders, rapid learning curves. The Council laughed. They believed humans would break the same way, under pressure, under loss. They had not studied closely enough. Veilsorin compared the data. Human wars were brutal, uncontrolled, messy. Yet humans kept fighting, even when defeat was certain. They fought for land, for belief, for memory. They fought even when survival odds were low. The Council saw this as madness. Velsorin saw something else. Choice. Humans chose to suffer rather than submit. Again and again, alarms shook the station. A sudden impact. Weapons fire from outside. Systems failed. The enforcers reacted with confusion. This was not predicted. Through a cracked viewport, Velsorin saw ships attacking the station. Small, fast, poorly shielded human design. They should not have been there. They should not have known. Human ships burned as they struck. They did not retreat. They rammed. They overloaded reactors. They turned themselves into weapons. The station shook. Sections vented into space. The enforcers fought back with precision. But the humans kept coming. Velsorin felt fear rise. Again, not fear for himself, fear for the galaxy, because he understood now. The Council believed war was solved. Humans treated war as survival. As the station began to fall, Velsorin realized the conflict had already changed. The Council had tried to control the wrong species, and humanity had noticed. The Galactic Council did not panic. When reports reached them about the destroyed station, they reacted with calm amusement. A minor failure, an unexpected variable, nothing more. Human ships had attacked an enforcement asset. Small vessels, poor armor, crude weapons. The Council reviewed the footage. They saw human ships burn as they struck. They saw reckless paths, high losses. The conclusion was simple. Humans were emotional. Humans were desperate. Humans were wasting lives. Council analysts laughed. They marked humanity as unstable but weak. A species that reacted instead of planned. A species that would exhaust itself. Velsorin listened from a hidden chamber aboard a damaged escape craft. He had survived the station's fall by chance. A torn hull, a drifting pod, silence. Human rescue crews found him. They did not ask questions. They did not check his worth. They pulled him from the wreckage and sealed the breach. Velsorin watched them work. Their movements were fast, not perfect, but determined. Some were injured. They kept going. Blood floated in low gravity. No one stopped. Pain did not slow them. It focused them. The Council never saw this part. To the Council, the attack was proof of human failure. Too much loss, too little gain. They believed fear would end resistance. They believed humans would retreat after suffering. They issued new containment orders. Pressure without open war. Trade limits. Border restrictions. Covert strikes. The galaxy accepted this. Most species always did. Velsorin began to understand the difference. Other species feared death more than loss. They avoided pain at all cost. They obeyed to survive. Humans feared submission. On the human ship, Velsorin accessed public data streams. Human history was open, raw, unfiltered. Wars were remembered, not hidden. Defeats were studied, not erased. Loss was honored. He saw records of cities rebuilt after ruin, nations rising after collapse, generations shaped by hardship. The Council had called this chaos. Humans called it life. The rescue ship jumped away before Council patrols arrived. Behind them, wreckage drifted, evidence burned. The Council declared the incident resolved. They labeled it a warning shot. Humans did not hear a warning. They heard a challenge. Across human space, something changed. Shipyards worked without pause. Civilian designs were repurposed. Old weapons returned from storage. Not advanced, not elegant, but adaptable. Council spies reported confusion. Human production made no sense. Too many designs, too many changes. Humans were not building one answer. They were building many. The Council laughed again. Fragmentation meant weakness. Standardization was strength. They did not understand human stubbornness. The refusal to stop. The refusal to yield. Velsorin felt fear grow. But it was no longer for humans. It was for the Council. Because he saw what they missed. Humans were not trying to win quickly. They were trying to endure. Council doctrine relied on prediction. Human behavior resisted it. Pain did not cause collapse. It caused escalation. As Velsorin's ship approached the edge of human-controlled space, alarms sounded. Long-range scans lit up. Council fleets were moving. Large formations, orderly, confident. They believed the next step would end resistance. Velsorin stared at the stars ahead. Human worlds fragile, defiant. The Council was about to press harder, to apply more pain. And somewhere deep in human space, something ancient inside the species was waking up. The Council advanced with confidence. Their fleets moved in clean lines. Every ship followed ancient doctrine. Every outcome had been calculated. They believed pressure would end it. More limits, more strikes, more fear. Human space trembled under the weight. Trade routes collapsed. Outer colonies went dark. Entire worlds lost contact in a single cycle. Food shortages followed. Power grids failed. Millions suffered. The council watched and waited. This was how it always worked. Velsorin saw the reports from a human command hub near the border. The room was small, crowded, nothing like a council war hall. Humans did not hide their losses. Casualty lists scrolled openly. Names, faces, ages, no attempt to soften the truth. The council believed this would break morale. It did not. The suffering spread, but so did resolve. Human ships kept launching. Some barely held together. Some were outdated. Some were built in weeks, not years. They were not meant to last. They were meant to act. Human tactics confused every council model. Ships did not retreat when damaged. They pushed forward. They blocked paths. They sacrificed speed for position. Council commanders hesitated. Self-preservation was built into their thinking. Humans used that. They overloaded drives to force collisions. They lured fleets into unstable gravity wells. They triggered chain reactions the council refused to risk. Losses were heavy. Human losses were worse. And still, they came. Velsorin understood then. Humans were not fighting to protect ships. They were fighting to protect choice. Each loss hardened them. Each destroyed world sharpened their focus. Pain was not an error. It was fuel. The council escalated again. They deployed suppression weapons designed to break will. Neural shock fields. Fear induction waves. They expected surrender. Human responses spiked instead. Soldiers fought through agony. Pilots flew while systems screamed warnings. Civilians joined logistics and defense without being asked. The council could not understand this. Their species avoided pain at all cost. They engineered comfort into survival. Humans had no such limit. A major council fleet entered the Helios corridor, a vital route. Losing it would cut human space in half. Council victory projections reached 98%. Human forces were smaller, slower, outgunned. They stayed. The battle did not unfold as planned. Human ships advanced directly into fire. They ignored optimal paths. They forced close-range combat where council weapons lost advantage. Explosions lit the corridor. Debris filled space. Signals vanished. Council ships began to withdraw. It was not part of the plan. Humans pressed harder. They did not chase victory. They denied escape. By the end, the corridor was wreckage. Human losses were staggering. Council losses were unthinkable. For the first time in recorded history, a council fleet retreated without achieving control. Velsorin felt a chill move through the command hub. Not fear, understanding. The council finally saw it. Humans did not fear death. They feared being ruled. Every strike meant to force submission had done the opposite. It had shaped them, hardened them, unified them. The council issued a new internal classification. Not public. Not yet. Humanity was no longer listed as insignificant. They were labeled a developing threat. But it was already too late. Because humanity was no longer developing, they were adapting. As the wreckage drifted in the Helios corridor, Velsorin realized the truth the council refused to face. They had not contained humanity. They had trained it, and the galaxy was about to learn what happens when a species that never surrenders decides. It will no longer kneel. The war did not end with celebration. It ended with silence. Across the galaxy, council fleets pulled back, not in defeat. In caution. Star lanes, once crowded with authority, went quiet. Outposts stopped transmitting. Enforcement patrols vanished from contested space. The council met in closed session. No public records, no shared statements. For the first time in its long history, the council did not know what to do. Human space was scarred. Worlds burned. Colonies lost. Graveyards of ships drifted between stars. Yet humanity did not collapse. They rebuilt while wounded. They repaired while under threat. They planned while mourning. VAE, Velsorin remained among them, not as a prisoner, not as a symbol, as a witness. He watched humans honor their dead without hiding pain. Names were spoken, stories shared, loss was not erased. The council would have sealed such memories away. Humans carried them forward. Council analysts tried to update their models. They failed. Human behavior resisted prediction. Every limit applied created new paths. Every loss created new resolve. The Council issued a quiet directive. Human systems were no longer to be pressured directly. Containment was suspended. Officially, this was a strategic pause. In truth, it was fear. Other species noticed. Whispers spread through neutral space. Stories passed between traders and refugees. The humans fought the Council and did not beg. They suffered and did not submit. They lost worlds and kept advancing. A new rule formed without being written. Do not corner humans. VAE. Elsorin accessed Council archives one last time. Human classification had changed again. No longer insignificant. No longer developing. The new label was short. Uncontine had believed control prevented war. Humanity proved something else. Control created it. Human leaders did not demand revenge. They did not seek domination. They demanded one thing: autonomy. Autonomy. No Council fleets in their space. No hidden limits. No silent corrections. The Council agreed. Not because they were convinced, because they were unsure, and uncertainty was something the Council had never learned to fight. Human shipyards continued to work, not for conquest, for readiness. Human doctrine changed the galaxy. They did not build for peace. They built for endurance. They accepted pain as a cost, death as a risk, surrender as unacceptable. Other species began to study human history in secret, not to copy technology, to understand mindset.